So I play a lot of master duels. However, most of my duels are off camera, so you guys don't actually get to see any of the duels or of those duels. And unfortunately, with a lot of the off-camera duels, a lot of those duels are really good and just fun and entertaining, I personally believe. And so in this video, I just want to go over some of these duels where I just felt they were entertaining. And so in this first one, we are playing our Metaphys deck, and I was experimenting with Chaos Space with trying to essentially get one light and one dark monster in the graveyard, because I put Chaos Daedalus, and Chaos Daedalus banishes one light and one dark from the graveyard, and the hopeful dark monster was going to be Metaphys, and then Metaphys would be banished and he would pop, and it's going to be a whole bunch of fireworks, glory, and just overall greatness for everyone involved. But my opponent, but I'm gonna be, spoiler of the year, that doesn't happen. So here we are, first game. We go ahead and we start off popping Terraformer, get Metaphys Factor out there. We go ahead, activate Metaphys Factor so none of my Metaphys monsters can have their effect negated. Put Chaos Space, put, what is it, Armed Dragon in the graveyard? Put Armed Dragon in the graveyard. We got Daedalus to hope. Our hope is that he attacks Metaphys in the graveyard, pop Daedalus, gets the banish, and then I'm extremely happy and my opponent's extremely miserable. I see Toon Bookmark. I'm like, okay, he's playing Toons. There's a chance I get OTK'd? Hopefully not, because that would just be sad. So he pulls out Blackluster Soldier, and I was like, okay. So he then brings out Blackluster. He then banishes my spell, and I was like, okay. But then he made the mistake of banishing Necrophase. No, you don't ever want to do that. However, my Necrophase popped and got me absolutely nothing. It was essentially useless. It got me one banished card that is actually useful if banished. The other three were 3 spells and Ash. The 4 cards you want to be banished. Anyway, he pops Toon Mask. He gets to copy a level 4 monster that I have, or any monster I have. I'm not too sure. And special summon it without its conditions. So Ragnarok effect happens, and then he banishes another Ascension gets banished. I get to draw a card. I pick up Metaphys Dimension because this card is essential. And then banish Daedalus, get another draw. The draw is Chaos Space, of course it is, which is essentially useless. However, he then protects his monster, but he doesn't know Ragnarok has the ability to special summon any one of my Metaphys monsters from the deck, and then I bring out Daedalus, and Daedalus' little ability is that all special summon monsters on the field get banished, and with that, he then realizes he has no other plays and then scoops. And yeah, I felt that duel was pretty entertaining, so let's go on to the next one. So in this next duel, I see this hand and I'm just like, oh, ain't much I can do, but at least I got Ash. And then I see Foolish Burial Goods, and in my mind I was like, he's not playing Virtual Worlds, right? I mean, there's plenty of decks that use Foolish Burial Goods, right? And so I stop his Foolish Burial, and then I see Pot of Desires, and I'm like, okay, I still don't think it's Virtual World, and then I see Virtual World Gate, and I was like, oh, all right, well, I think I just lose, if I'm not mistaken, because you see the whole kicker with Metaphys is that Metaphys wants to banish even like everyone's cards get banished. Virtual World also kind of likes its cards banished, and it kind of does it often and then recycles the banished cards. So I was in a bit of a pickle, because I was like, even if I banish his cards, it doesn't really matter. And so here he goes. He brings out Croco Dragon. Funny thing about Virtual World is I also have a Virtual World deck, and so I knew every play he was about to make, and I was just like, oh, True King of all Calamities is going to come out, and there isn't much I can do to actually stop him. Which, funny duel off camera that happened last season that I couldn't get is someone actually brought out a True King of all Calamities, and then I immediately banished it with Dimension. And so here he comes, True King of all Calamities, and I'm just like, is there anything I can draw that would be useful? And I was like, actually, Tyrant Dragon isn't that bad, because all I can play is Sacred Sword, banish him, and then of course he has Ash, and then I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think there's anything I can do about that one, because of course everyone has Ash. So then the only thing I do is set Ragnarok, because I can't even pop his effect. So He then Cube comes out, and I was like, wait, Cube banishes all monsters on the field, so this isn't too bad. I pop Metaphys Ascension because it's saying all monsters should be banished. He then targets Ascension, right? And then I was just like, okay, because he's going to destroy Ascension. Ascension gets destroyed, it gets banished, and I was like, yes, I get to get one of my cards. That never happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was mistime. I don't know if the effect somehow got negated, but I was like, wait, Ascension should have popped. I should have got to draw another card. And it just didn't happen, and I was just flabbergasted because I'm like, there's nothing I can draw that could be of use, because I can't use Decoy Dragon because its effect would be negated. I popped Terraforming, and then I just realized there's nothing I could do. That Ash completely and utterly fucked me in Ascension for some reason, not getting its banish effect. I don't know, and that's just how the cookie crumbled apparently. Next duel. So in the next duel, we go back to my traditional Metaphys deck, and this hand is pretty good. It's almost one of the best hands you could have with this deck, which is saying a lot because this deck is pretty ass. So I banished Ascension, and then I get Dimension, and I was just like, you know, there's a lot better draws I could have had, but you know what, it's not the worst. So then I get Ragnarok, of course, to pop Ragnarok, and then banish 3 monsters, which actually the banish wasn't too bad, even with just getting Daedalus. And so Daedalus pops, I get to banish another card. I then banish Ascension, and then Asm pops, but it doesn't do anything because there's no monster on the field. And so with Ascension, I was like, let me get another Asm just in case he Harpy's Feather Duster in my back row right now, and then I can set up another layer of reinforcements. So I get Decoy Dragon out, and he Raigeki. So there's no protection against Raigeki. This deck has nothing to stop that. And so I see Sky Strikers. I'm like, yay, back-to-back meta decks. That's what you love to see. And so, as everyone knows with Sky Strikers, you negate one Sky Striker spells, and they have 15 more waiting. And so now I'm just like, oh man, Sky Strikers. Dimension's useless because I don't have any Metaphys monster banished. Now, the bit of a problem was, since I went first, I didn't know he was playing Sky Strikers, because in hindsight, what I should have did was I should have canceled Daedalus's effect and then popped Dimension, so when he special summoned any like his monsters, all I had to do was get Daedalus, and then I could have banished all special summon monsters. Like once he would have brought Kaguya, I would have simply popped Daedalus. Daedalus would have came out, banished all of his monsters. It would have been lovely, but I didn't know he was playing Sky Strikers. And so it just doesn't happen. Like this deck isn't, I don't know if it's supposed to go first, second. It personally doesn't feel good going either way, because it's not like I can do anything. So I get sit down all the way to 3,200. I'm like, well, this seems lovely. And then he brings out Ziki, and I was just like, well, I mean, she isn't really gonna do much to me. He then banishes himself. He then uses Rose to bring out, who did he bring out again? Oh right, Shizuki. So now Shizuki's out, but I'm like, well, at least it's the end of its main phase 2, so I don't have to worry about getting pummeled. He then brings out the little Sky Striker Claw, so he can negate the effect of one of my monsters, or take control of it as well. He then grabs 2, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess you're being safe than sorry. So what I then decide to do is pop Dimension, because now I get to banish. I then banish Daedalus, and of course I get another Dimension. Why wouldn't I get a useful card? I then go for the airspace, because I'm like, I don't want you to excavate every single turn. I then pop another Asm, because I need another card. So then Soul Release actually wasn't that bad, because then what allowed me to do was banish my Ragnarok and then banish all of the spells. Soul Release, honestly, in Metaphys, I'm not saying it's like a 2 or 3 of, but it honestly is pretty good with Metaphys if you just get destroyed by battle. Now I do know Metaphys has a boss monster, but the boss monster, he's not worth it in my personal opinion. So here we go. We get our effects because we banished Decoy Dragon, and then we're gonna send modules, banish modules. Now he has no spells in his graveyard, so he can't really get any of his extra effects. I then get to add Ragnarok to my hand, but that was all of my opponent's turn, so I couldn't even really use Ragnarok, which I was really banking on. So he sends out Kaina, and then Dimension happens, and this is why I still wish I had Daedalus, where So I got the second Nautilus, and after I popped the second Nautilus, by the way, good Necro Pop. After I get the second Nautilus, also that Necro Pop got rid of Harpy's Feather Duster, which was absolutely wonderful. After the second Nautilus, I should have clicked no, so that I could special summon him and then banish all of his monsters, so he couldn't do what he's about to do right now, which is send Dimension back to the grave, then disable Ragnarok's effect. But Ragnarok's effect, I believe it should have popped. If it didn't pop, I'm actually furious. I believe it didn't pop, which infuriated me. Or I think I already made it. No. His effect just didn't pop, because Metaphys is very weird in this game to where their effects for some reason just sometimes don't pop. So he gets Ash, gets a Link 4, brings out everyone's favorite Link 4 monster. We all seen him, we all know him. Access Code Talker. He brings out Access Code Talker, and at this point I'm like, I think I'm dead. And then guess what? He said, yeah, no, you're dead. You're dead as well. And yeah, I felt like this duel, honestly, Metaphys, if I played it right, on the second Nautilus, if I would have said no, I probably could have beat Sky Strikers with Metaphys, which would have been hilarious. But of course, I misplayed, and then I just end up losing. And with that is the last duel of this video. I do hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.